At its core, Revolutionary Girl Utena is a story about the struggles of adolescence. Most commonly, the challenges faced by young women are front and center. This acts on both macro and micro scales. Small internal conflicts are explored right alongside sweeping structural and societal woes. Both can be equally formative and, at times, traumatizing. The abstraction the series uses to convey such plights lends itself to physical representations of fear and concepts. Though ultimately a boon to the creative structure and overall intrigue of the narrative, at times this style can be rather dense and leave the audience confused. Despite the struggles that arise, Utena persists in the conscience of many for its remarkably nuanced discussion of very difficult subject matter. Welcome to Le Duelist. Nanami Kiryuu is somewhat unconventional among Utena's cast of characters. Initially, she is a minor character, pretentious and aggressive, especially towards Anthy. It's easy to hate Nanami. She seems to be the quintessential mean girl, constantly acting out and attacking others. But like most characters in Utena, she has more to her than meets the eye, and a powerful role to play in the overall plot. Nanami is an oddity among the other duelists. She arrives late, only being revealed as a challenger immediately before facing Utena for the first time. This battle cements her position as an outlier. She shows zero interest in the Rose Bride. Her disdain for Anthy isn't so easily curtailed by some vague promised power. No, true to her nature, Nanami battles for what is most important to her: her brother, and by extension, her pride. Even when the rose is struck from her breast, Nanami does not yield. She has no intention to follow the rules End of the World has laid out for her. Nanami couldn't care less about the dueling game or the power to revolutionize the world. In this first battle, she's been handed something far more important: grounds on which to put those she deems beneath her in their place. In a sense, she sees herself as above the rules that bind Utena and the other duelists. She is Nanami Kiryuu, after all. She stands at the pinnacle of Otori and society with only one equal. These ideas continue to drive her character, though they do not remain unchanged through the run of the series. As previously mentioned, Nanami's wealth of pride is directly linked to her brother, Toga. The Kiryuu family is clearly wealthy and well-standing in society. This is the basis of Nanami's lofty view of herself. From a young age, she was conditioned to see herself as belonging to a higher, privileged class. To stand as distinguished individuals were her and her brother's birthrights. However, the two received very different treatment from their parents, resulting in Nanami developing a warped view of Toga's worth. Toga was the star child, lavished with praise and treated like a prince. This stood in stark contrast to Nanami's treatment. Though our glimpses of her youth are brief, it seems clear that she was often criticized by parents that cared less for her than for her brother. Their actions did, of course, break down Nanami's self-image. However, she built herself up to the heights she expresses early on in the show through unique means. She viewed her worth as being given to her by her brother. No matter what her parents said or did, her brother cared for her. Toga was praised by the people who criticized her, thus his opinion was supreme to theirs, thus Nanami was deemed worthy, special and elevated to the level of her oh-so-perfect brother. It's only natural, then, that we see her confidence and self-image begin to crack and shatter as her connection to Toga is severed and he rejects her. Having put her stock of value on that connection causes her to break down completely in the End of the World arc when it's taken away. Thus far, Nanami has never had to construct any meaningful sense of self. Her validation and identity have always been external to her. This tendency to rely on outside sources to define her is well illustrated in her obsession with designer goods and apparel. If what she wears is the best, then she is the best. In the Cowbell of Happiness, Nanami is threatened by Juri wearing a designer necklace she deems to be worth more than her own diamond pendant. With her ego threatened, she turns to the sudden delivery of a bigger and better designer item. Her stubborn defense of her pride is illustrated in her transformation into a cow. So compelled was she to cling to the status brought by a brand name that she would subject herself to wearing a cowbell and turning into an animal in a vain attempt to assert her superiority. She draws her sense of value from the people around her as well. The praise of the public is tantamount, leading her to spend exhaustive amounts of time and energy on maintaining her image. She goes so far as to keep a pack of adoring girls with her to bolster her self-image. All the while, she demeans these girls, making it clear to them that they are lower than her and her brother. Nanami's egg gives the viewer an intimate look at the way Nanami obsesses over self-image and how easily shattered her delicate external self is. The egg is a clear metaphor for first menstruation, and Nanami's lack of understanding on the subject causes her to panic immensely. Grappling with the intersection of adolescence and image drives her to insanity, resulting in the sheer chaos of this infamous episode. Odd as they are at times, these trials are essential to Nanami's character. They do not only show the inner workings of her mind, but they challenge her to reflect on who she is as a person. Because of this, Nanami grows remarkably through the run of the series. While in the throes of suffering following the loss of her connection to Toga, Nanami witnesses the relationship between Akio and Anthy. This is a loss of innocence. She is forced to confront the terrible reality of the world and herself, and has no choice but to mature. Nanami doesn't become a different person. She is still herself, but this, on top of all the other challenges she's faced, enlightens her a degree. She is the first to become privy to the sham that Akio, Anthy, and the dueling game are. However, Nanami becomes a tragic Cassandra of sorts. Her previous childish conduct has painted her as dramatic and malevolent, and no one will listen to her criticisms of Akio. Anything she says about Anthy is similarly discounted, as her perpetual cruelty isn't so easily forgotten. Despite being the first to break free of Akio's influence, Nanami is powerless to stop everyone else from playing into his hand. She does, however, offer support to Utena in the series' final episodes in her own way. She has not fully left her flaws behind, though she has come to acknowledge more of them alongside harsh realities of the world. There is much left to do for Nanami, and with her image of the world shattered, it is likely that she will only continue to grow after the curtains fall on the story of Utena. She is still young, but not as young as she once was. The path forward will be painful, but it is one that she will have to walk. Her placement among the duelists has always been unique, and it's not far-fetched to say that she may very well be the next to depart from Otori Academy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Le Duelist. If you liked what you heard, we have a full playlist of Le Duelist episodes and more coming out soon. We also have general analyses that you can check out on our channel, The Digital Dream Club, and you can follow us on Twitter at DigiDreamClub. We also have a Discord server now for anyone who's just interested in hanging out, chatting about media that we like, so on and so forth. We played Scribble.io the other day while voice chatting, so it's a lot of fun. I would advise coming and checking it out. Anyway, thanks again for listening, and have a great day. Bye-bye.